Hey guys, welcome back to an all-new episode of a pro wrestling podcast with Matt and friends. I am your host, Matt Kazakowski, and alongside me today is the first ever Rhodes Wrestling Academy champion, The Cure, Lucas Chase. Lucas, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well, Matt. How are you, man? Thanks for having me.
I am great. It's a little chilly in my apartment for some reason today, so I'm trying to keep warm a little bit, but other than that,
I'm up here. I'm up here in the Northeast, so it's kind of chilly always everywhere. So.
Oh, absolutely. I get that for sure, man. I get that for sure. No, I'm excited to have you on here. You are the second Rhodes Wrestling Academy person that I've had on my show. I love the fact that they do these showcases. I think it's absolutely amazing because without it, I would never have been able to see who Lucas Chase is. So I think that's
the showcases are very, very cool. I got the honor, thanks to Dustin and thanks to the Rhodes Wrestling Academy family, to be, able to capture the gold and become the first ever champion. And it's been an amazing ride. And without those showcases and the entire Rhodes family, a lot of people would still not know who Lucas Chase is or
absolutely
was. And so, I take them so seriously. And we have another one this Sunday, November 14th, the third showcase, where I'll be defending my Rhodes Wrestling Academy championship in another triple threat match.
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll get into the details on that. I want to, make sure we save a little bit of that for that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, let's start it off simple. When did you fall in love with pro wrestling? When did you click with it? Hey man, this is the coolest thing ever.
Ooh, since birth, dude. It's probably a boring answer, but I'm a total lifer. 100%. I used to, I got stories from my parents of, sitting on my great grandmother's lap while she was watching, Hogan and Andre and stuff like that. And, just growing up in that environment. And my parents always said it was a phase and it never left. I'm still in that phase, man.
That's awesome.
Pro wrestling has literally just been everything to me my entire life. I've been a student of the game. And my earliest memories from being a baby and into childhood, I remember watching, marvelous Marc Maro versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley on Superstars, and watching Dustin Rhodes and company tear it up in WCW and in the WWF. And, I never left.
It's funny though, because out of everybody I've talked to, they always do the names, the groupings of matches of people that everybody knows and everybody's very familiar with. And you just mentioned Marc Maro versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley. That's the first time I've ever heard somebody mention that match on my show. And I think it's absolutely awesome. Both incredible talents. Triple H has always been one of the best, obviously, but a lot of people look past Marc Maro and don't give him the credit that man deserves.
I'm not getting paid for this. I don't know Marc Maro. I would love to meet Marc Maro, but if anyone has never seen Marc Maro really work some great stuff, just look up Johnny B. Bad on Peacock from the old WCW and just watch that dude do his thing, because Johnny B. Bad was so ahead of his time and just one of my favorite gimmicks of all time.
Oh, absolutely. I remember, so I didn't watch WCW back in the day, but when TNA first started, Johnny B. Bad was one of the guys that was there for a little bit. He did a couple matches and stuff. And I remember watching him. I'm like, dude, I love his character. I think it's absolutely incredible.
It was awesome. He was too pretty when he was Johnny B. Bad.
Absolutely. No, I think he's very underrated. A lot of people don't give him the credit that man deserves.
Oh no, he put on some phenomenal matches when he was in the WCW for sure, man. He's very underrated talent.
Oh, absolutely. Could work in the ring, can talk, can walk. Dude was absolutely phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Now, who were some of your favorites growing up? Who did you actually idolize? Oh, dude, this dude is the coolest dude ever. Besides Marc Maro, now we just talked about that. So
yeah, I feel growing up, I was kind of Dwayne Johnson is number one on the list. The Rock, obviously, just everything from his charisma to, I grew up, the bulk of my fandom was during the Attitude Era, primarily, Monday Night Wars. But as I got older, I was one of the few kids that was a big fan of the heels. I loved the bad guys when I was growing up. But it was before like liking bad guys was cool, you know, because now everyone just like wants to cheer the bad guys. But like I used to love like when Triple H turned heel in 2000, in late 99. You know, I was a big original like Goldust fan. You know, Razor Ramon when he was in his heel turn, the NWO, you know, guys like that. But you know, Sting was a huge influence on me, kind of like character wise and gimmick wise. I was more of a WCW guy growing up, for sure. And I loved Dean Malenko. William Regal is someone that's a big influence on me, and Arn Anderson as well.
Absolutely, dude. William Regal, one of the absolutely best wrestlers of all time, and I think he doesn't get the credit he deserves either.
If you can, again, I'm such a person that like, and my wife, I feel bad for her, but she's a saint and she puts up with it. But like, all I do is watch and study wrestling, and she is sitting around watching with me, and I love her for it. But like, if you get a chance, Super Brawl '98 opening match is Steven Regal, which is William Regal, versus the Ultimo Dragon, and that match is probably the best Clash of Styles match when you have technical and luchador mixing together, and it is incredible. So watch that match if you can.
Absolutely. I actually never seen that match. I've never seen that show, so I actually have to put down and watch that one. I've watched so much wrestling, and it's crazy because I've talked to so many people on my show, and a lot of people didn't even know independent wrestling existed outside like WWE and stuff like that. Even top of the indie cards didn't know things outside WWE existed, and it's funny to see how much wrestling there is out there nowadays.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, that one, it's funny because I didn't start watching wrestling until 2003, so that's something I actually have to go back and watch now.
Man, please keep in contact after this. I will send you links to matches. Like a machine, dude.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. No, all right, I tweaked out there. Recording stopped for a second, but I was a big fan of heels after 2005. Like, so 2003 to 2005, I hated all heels. Like, I didn't appreciate them. I didn't like. I had the privilege and honor of talking to Charlie Haas on my show not too long ago, and before that, like back in 2003, when I was just getting into wrestling, I hated the world's greatest tag team because they were heels. But growing into pro wrestling, I appreciated everything these two did. And I'm like, dude, they're incredible. But the two first heels that I fell in love with that changed the game for me was MVP and Mr. Kennedy. Those two changed the game.
Mr. Kennedy was awesome in his thing. Even when he went to TNA, he was still awesome. I wish he would have had a longer run, like in the mainstream, because I think Ken Kennedy was freaking awesome. And MVP obviously still going strong today with the Hurt Business and with Lashley and everything. And, he was just someone that came up the rankings relatively quick and just nailed it and knew what he was doing, the entire time. And it actually is funny you mentioned those names, because it's guys like that like I idolize, you know what I mean? Just like the workhorses that don't get the kind of the recognition that they deserve, And I think I think that's like a big thing that drew me to going down to Austin to the Rhodes Wrestling Academy, just because I always saw Dustin as someone that was underappreciated,
Oh yeah, and it's crazy to me because I think with age he just gets better, man. It's insane. Like
it's wild.
His last run with WWE, when him and Cody won the tag titles and stuff, like dude was on a whole different level. Like,
oh, he's ageless, man.
You thought he was up here back then, and a lot of people were like, okay, he's a mid card. No, he should have been higher up, because dude, Dustin is incredible.
Absolutely. I mean, you just look back a couple of weeks ago what he did with Bryan Danielson. That was just storytelling and intensity and amazing, craftsmanship of pro wrestling right there.
Oh yeah, you see all these guys, dude, 50 years old, still trying to wrestle, and you're like, all right, you gotta put those boots down, dude. Like, but Dustin, yo, you want to give him a fresh pair of boots and be like, lace these up, dude. Like, he just kills it, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's definitely aging like wine over there, man.
Oh, absolutely. So the moment you decided you wanted to get into pro wrestling, like the moment you said, yo, this is what I'm doing, when was that? How old were you? And do you remember exactly that moment?
I can't pinpoint an exact moment. I just kind of always knew this is what I wanted to do. There's nothing really else that I've ever wanted to do in my life except pro wrestling. Like I said, I'm a lifer. And I originally trained in 2008 into 2009, had my pro debut in 2009. So I've been around, the Northeast indie scene for quite some time. But then life got in the way. I made some mistakes. I had some troubles and personal demons that I ended up overcoming, and I got back into it, in 2017, and been going strong ever since. And really in the past year or so, it's really started to ramp up. And I feel like I'm really starting to hit my stride. Not in my peak yet, but really starting to hit my stride where, everything's just kind of falling to pieces, and the hard work's, paying off.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I don't think, unless people have watched the showcases, I don't think a lot of people would have known who Lucas Chase is, like I said.
That's very true.
There's so many ridiculously talented people in both showcases, both Rhodes Wrestling and Nightmare. Both
we don't really talk about Nightmare Factory, don't worry.
Right. Dustin trumps it. Obviously they need to get a title going over there. You guys have one step up above them. So
that's right. That's exactly right. We are one step above the Nightmare Factory. Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
All due respect to Cody, QT. I love those guys, and all due respect to the Nightmare Factory. But Rhodes Wrestling Academy actually has a champion. So
absolutely. And it's the one and only Lucas Chase, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So a match that I watched of yours that I was really impressed by was a match against a guy named PJ Savage. I was watching that match, and I thought he was also another guy who really impressed me with what he can do as a bigger guy.
PJ's very talented man. He's based out of New York.
Oh, absolutely. Now tell us about like experience like that, like wrestling guys like that, and other guys who aren't well known, I should say, to a lot of people. Unless you're like more locally based. What's it like to try to make a name against guys like that and not having like bigger broadcasts?
I feel like wrestling's so accessible nowadays that it might be a little bit easier for us to kind of get notoriety in our respective territories. And when it comes to wrestling, a guy like PJ Savage, or like a Kylon King who's based out of the Northeast, or a Dustin Waller who's based out of Northeast, we're all running this circuit. We're all running this Northeast territory. A team like Waves and Curls, who recently,
yes,
just went back up on AEW Dark, or two really good friends of mine as well, and are from, the Northeast. We all have one goal in mind, and that is to stand out no matter what. And no matter where we're placed on the card, no matter how many times we work a weekend, no matter where we are or who we're working, we're going to go out there, we're going to try and steal the show. The biggest thing is that we all have kind of like these friendship rivalries where we're watching in the back and we're like, damn, that was a hell of a good match. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try and one up you.
Yes.
So we're all challenging each other and consistently supporting one another in those roles. Where it makes it a lot easier for us to get a little bit of notoriety and a little bit more noticed. And we got bigger names that are from the Northeast territory that are, helping us out as well. Like a MLW's Richard Holiday is from where I'm from.
Yes.
I know Richard Holiday personally. Kylon King, who's a very, very bright up and comer here in Northeast. He just wrestled 1 year ago, Christian Casanova, who is now Carmelo Hayes in the WWE, the North American champion in NXT. So the Northeast is very competitive, and some of the brightest stars in indie wrestling and in, mainstream wrestling are now being plucked from our territory because people are taking notice at how good the talent pool is up here.
Sure.
We have some of the best promotions in the entire country with Blitzkrieg and Limitless and Vacation Land Pro. Anthony Green, who was Austin Gray, who was just on AEW Dynamite a couple weeks ago, who is just in NXT. He's the Limitless, champion. JD Drake is consistently up here at Limitless, because people know that the Northeast, not for nothing, is probably the best territory in the United States right now.
Oh, for sure, man. Limitless has so many good talents going in their matches and stuff.
Wow.
We just seen the reunion of the Workhorsemen, Anthony Henry and JD Drake there. Anthony Henry I had on my show not too long ago, and dude is an incredible talent. I think
Oh, he's
very
phenomenal.
underrated. A lot of people don't give him credit. He didn't get the credit he deserved in NXT for sure.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
but yeah, no, I believe you're right, man. I think a lot comes from the Northeast, a lot of good talents, and a lot of people need to start looking that direction if they want to see really good pro wrestling.
Absolutely. And I mean,
You know,
like, working with a guy like PJ Savage, in a smaller event and smaller venue is just about really trying to hone our craft. And those types of matches are probably the most important in our careers, because we're trying to tell these stories. We're trying to, you walk in, you may not know who Lucas Chase is, but I guarantee you that when you walk out, you're going to remember and know who the Cure is.
yes,
Because
absolutely.
that's what we're doing. We're treating every single person that walks through those doors like it's the first time they're seeing us. And what do we need to translate so you get it?
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm really proud of that match with PJ Savage, man. I like PJ. PJ's a hell of a talent. He's from my home state of New York, and watch out for PJ, man. He's making the moves. He's set it on around.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, you really worked his leg in that match, and you ended up pulling out with the sharpshooter. So I thought it was
That's
like,
it.
yeah.
Work the body part, baby.
Which I don't think, that's something that a lot of people need to get back into their repertoire, is trying to work the body parts. And you did a really great, you did a really great job with it, man. And I was really impressed. I'm like, yeah, dude, he killed it. I don't know. I didn't know if you were going to get the big dude up for that Samoan drop, though. I was like, all right, he's going to win with the sharpshooter. All right.
But you know what? You gotta have many tricks in your bags, man. You can't hit everybody with the same thing. You gotta be adaptable.
Yes.
That's what the new strain of professional wrestling is all about, man. The Cure is
Absolutely.
ever evolving.
Absolutely. So, the Cure. Where did the nickname The Cure come from? Why did you decide to use that as your nickname?
I was really, when I got back into professional wrestling full time, 2017, I was trying to come up with something that would be not only catchy, but would make sense as to my feelings on what professional wrestling should be and is. And that is, a mixture of the new school, which is fast and high risk and hard hitting and, very exciting and adrenaline based, but also telling stories and getting people to care about what you're presenting them and get behind you or to boo you. And so it was a mixture of those two things, kind of like a DNA strain. And, it's just a compound. And I came up with The Cure because, professional wrestling was such a height when I was a kid, and the Attitude Era was the biggest mainstream era of professional wrestling. But we've fallen from that a little bit. And now we're kind of starting to step back into the mainstream. And so Lucas Chase, The Cure, was developed to bring professional wrestling back into the limelight by showing the era of the ways that the fans have brought professional wrestling, the cosplay wrestlers, the BS wrestlers, the spot monkeys. Watch out, because the Cure is coming, and you are the disease, and I'm the cure, and I'm here to save professional wrestling. That's how it was developed, and it goes with my style. I'm more of a technical person. I'm very submission based, very mat based. But when I need to, I'll bust something out that you're not expecting.
Oh man, and that's what I was gonna tell you too. Like, I was watching that match, I'm like, dude, his technical skill is on point. Like, I think a lot of people need to have more eyes on Lucas Chase. I think you're gonna have one hell of a career still to come.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely, and I think a lot more people are gonna have their eyes on you within the next year or so. And Lucas Chase is gonna become that guy.
I appreciate that, man. From you to the universe, brother.
Absolutely. Pop-up Samoan drop. What is the name that you use for it, and why did you choose that as one of your finishers?
I was looking for something very impactful. I'll start with why I chose it for one of my finishers, because then I just recently put a name to it because everybody kept bugging me about what I called it.
Yes.
But I chose it because I needed something high impact and very fast. And that's, something I thought long and hard about. And the pop-up Samoan was something that I can catch out of nowhere. It can be, quick, it could be sudden, and it could just put you away. And the way that I like to initiate it is when people least expect it. And it's not something that people see all the time either. And I actually got it as an homage to the late great Umaga, who used to use the pop-up Samoan drop as something in his repertoire. And I was watching a lot of his stuff before I went down to Rhodes Wrestling Academy, and Dustin and I were kind of talking while I was there, and he was like, we need to come up with like a good finish of yours. And I had used it a couple times, and people in the Northeast up in Rhode Island would say, oh, that should be your finish. That should be your finish. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe, I'm still kind of up in the air about it. But going through everything, Dustin was really the one that kind of was just like, that's it. That's fucking it. Sorry if I can't curse on air.
No, you can curse, dude. We're good.
He was like, that's it, and I was just like, all right, cool. And as far as what the name of it is, I like to be topical and current. And so it's called the Chase variant because I'm the cure. So it's the Chase variant.
I love it, dude. I love it. That's absolutely awesome.
I gotta credit Chad Lennox for helping me name that.
Oh man. Well, hey, dude, if you asked Chad Lennox, you cheated in that triple threat match. He said that, man. Well, I was like, oh, man.
Chad could come see me one-on-one anytime.
Oh, we would love to see that, man. Chad's an absolutely incredible person, though, man. I think a lot of people have to have their eyes on that young man, too. I think he's going to have.
Let me tell you something about Chad Lennox, man. Chad Lennox is a hell of a talent. He is a hell of a competitor, and he is one hell of a person and someone I consider a very good friend of mine. And we brought it to each other in that showcase match along with Zachariah as well.
Another great wrestler coming up too.
Great Texas wrestler, and we beat the crap out of each other for a reason. And I got nothing but respect for Chad Lennox. I think he's a great human being. He might be on his mama's teat a little too much. Might need to get his head out of his ass sometimes. But yeah, Chad's great.
Oh, absolutely. I've talked to him a couple of times, and Chad is, like I said, I think nothing but great things about that young man. And I think a lot of people are going to have something to be impressed by in the very near future here. So
sky's the limit for Chad Lennox for sure.
Oh, and for Lucas Chase,
That's right.
And Zachariah, that whole trip,
everybody
in that triple threat match, I thought was absolutely incredible.
Now it was a barn burner.
Let's get into the topic at hand here. Rhodes Wrestling Academy. How did that come about? How did you get into the door at Rhodes Wrestling Academy? We've already talked about the fact that you've already had training experience before that. You've wrestled before that. Where did you originally train from? Who did you originally train by?
So I originally trained up here in Connecticut. A guy by the name of Tukey Tucker was my first trainer. Back when I was wet behind the ears and 18 years old. And, I got a very big head, very early in my career. And that's probably why a lot of people haven't heard of me still to this day. But that's life, right? And we live, we learn, we grow. But Tukey Tucker broke me into the business. And, before I got into the Rhodes Wrestling Academy, I was training up at Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling, which is owned and operated by Mario Mancini and Paul Roma. So I was training there and working with a lot of guys like Christopher Battle and Dustin Waller, and of course Mario and Paul. And they have a talent roster up here that is just second to none. And then during the pandemic, or right before the pandemic, Dustin had posted that he was opening a school, an academy. And I went online and I just wanted to get more information on it because, I was talking with my then girlfriend, now wife, about like how I wanted to do this, full time. And I was going to give it my all. If I was going to know, I was going to know. Right.
Right.
So unbeknownst to her, when I did go online to look up more information, I filled out an application and submitted a video. And I did not think I was going to hear anything back. Fast forward 6 months later, I was at my day job. At the time I was bartending actually. And I got a phone call, ignored the phone call, got a voicemail, and I had to listen to that voicemail about 30 times because it was Dustin Rhodes on the phone for me. And I couldn't believe it. And I called him back. And of course he sent me the voicemail. And then, I was just casually playing phone tag with Dustin Rhodes, no big deal. And, and then, we finally hooked up on the phone. and he extended the invitation, and he liked what apparently what I saw, what he saw on the video submission and on the application. And he knew going in that I had some previous experience, but he made it very clear that he wanted people that were willing to learn and start from ground zero, and he was looking for hard workers. So I got the invitation to go the following April to the second camp. First camp had already been filled, which ran from January to March, and second camp, my camp, was April to end of April through end of July.
Yeah.
So I actually ended up getting married exactly 30 days before getting in my car and going to Austin for 3 months.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Shout out to my wife, because if anybody's gonna get the credit for Lucas Chase becoming the RWA champion, it's gonna be my wife. She let me go. So
well, thank you to your wife. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. But it was a great experience.
Oh, absolutely, man. And obviously you did something to stand out, because you had guys who was actually seen in the Series 1 showcase come back for Series 2, be in that main event, where you're a fresh face added into this main event spotlight right off the bat. We seen how you talked backstage. They did like a little talk with you backstage. We seen how you could talk, and that entire night showcased your entire talent. The look, the talking, the wrestling ability. Like, I was like, dude, this dude has everything. Like, just everything about this dude just screams world champion. And I was impressed with that entire match, man. And then you winning that title, awesome match. You winning the championship was absolutely incredible.
That was definitely an amazing feeling.
We got to see Dustin Rhodes come in and award you the championship. How did that feel to you, having somebody with the caliber of Dustin Rhodes handing you a championship belt in your hands?
Ooh, so that was surreal. And it's still till this very moment the most surreal moment of my career, in the best way possible. So just being that main event first, along guys like Chad Lennox, along guy like Zachariah, such amazing talent. Zach, who's been in the business for 9 years, that's a shoot. That's not just his gimmick, that is a shoot. Zach's been around the block in Texas, and Josh is no spring chicken either. He's been working in the West Coast and down south for a few years. So to have the chance to work with them was amazing enough. But then to win, I busted my ass for 12 weeks. I lived in a very big wrestling bubble for 12 weeks. When I tell you, I slept on an air mattress in my buddy's apartment in Austin, beat up, battered, bruised. I was in the gym twice a day, plus in the ring training at the academy, X amount of times a week. Very honed in and focused, and my hard work paid off in the biggest way. And having Dustin, which I didn't know was going to happen, get in the ring and hand me the championship, those emotions were real. Like, what you saw was super real. And I am so appreciative to him, to Terrell, his wife, and the entire Rhodes Academy family, the entire Rhodes family. And to have Dustin not only be a teacher to me, but a mentor to me, and someone who, I consider 100% family at this point, was surreal, because I looked up to him growing up so much. And, I'm not like an ass kisser or anything. That's not my style, but like, Dustin is like someone that, from me being a kid, like, I loved the Goldust character. I loved him as a performer my entire life. To have the opportunity to be taught by him, to pick his brain, to see the ins and outs of professional wrestling from someone who literally grew up in the business, and is a second generation behind one of the greatest of all time in Dusty Rhodes. I thank God every single day that I had that opportunity, and that he saw something in me to put me in that position. It's something that I'll never, ever, ever let go. There's only going to be one first ever, and that's me.
Yes. And I don't think there would have been a better choice, No offense, Chad or Zach. I love you guys.
No, fuck Chad and Zach.
Fuck them.
I'm gonna get a couple text messages after listening to this.
Chad's gonna message me too and be like, yeah, you just agreed. What the hell? So, but no, you do have a title of defense coming up, your first one for this championship.
Right. This Sunday.
You said another triple threat. Who's it against? Who we got?
So we got this kid Kane Carter, little blue chip prospect, trying to wet his feet in the biz. Good, hell of a talent. I've seen a couple things, but he's a bit of a greenhorn. He's in this for about a year and some change, handful of matches. And someone who I am very excited to mix it up with is Paul Hubers. He is from Scotland. He's been in the business for a few years. So needless to say, we're all going to be leaving with some bumps and bruises because I'm definitely don't plan on losing. And if I do, I'm going down with a hell of a fight because you're going to have to kill me, man.
We can't just have it be one and done. We need Lucas Chase as the champion for quite some time. So
you tweet Dustin and you let him know that. You let them know that. You mix that up all around the social media.
We got you, man. We got you. No, I'm looking forward to that, man. I love watching these showcases. I think they're absolutely incredible. You see so many people get to showcase what they're capable of. And it's names that have either just started or names that have been around on the indies that nobody's really gotten a chance to know. Like when I had Chad on the show, he even told me he wrestled for quite some time before he started. And I didn't know that. I just thought, okay, well, he came in the Rhodes Academy. This is who he is. This is where, but to find out where he came from and where he got to start, it was awesome. And, you guys get this opportunity to shine, which I think is absolutely incredible. And the Rhodes brothers themselves, I think, do so many wonderful things for so much talent. And I tap of the hat for them. I think that's
absolutely. I think a lot of new rising stars in professional wrestling have a lot to thank and be grateful for towards the Rhodes family for giving the opportunity. And it's a big thing because the Rhodes brothers, Cody and Dustin and their wives too, Brandy and Terrell don't get a lot of the credit. But they help out tremendously. I know that Terrell helped me out with my character development in a tremendous amount. She has a brilliant mind for creativity, and she really helped me kind of zone in and lock in who Lucas Chase was on a grander scale for a bigger audience. And I think that helped tremendously. And the people coming out of the Nightmare Factory are just unreal. Guys like Kid Bandit and Shoddy Lee and Brock Anderson and people like that. People I would love to work with. The Brock Anderson. If you need a tag team partner, I'm available.
There we go.
Lee, if you want to mix it up, I'm definitely down. They're on a very short list of people I would love to work with. So.
Well, speaking of Nightmare Factory, speaking of the Rhodes, speaking of everything like that, you had a match against Will Hobbs on AEW
Yes.
Dark.
On Dark, yeah.
How was that experience being in front of that many people? Was that the first time you were in front of that many people like that?
That is still to this day the largest crowd I've performed in front of and got the opportunity to wrestle in front of. It was AEW's first show back on the road after COVID. Second show back in front of fans. And it was at the HEB Center in Austin. And when I tell you that experience was one that I am chomping at the bit to get back to, man, first of all, I owe Will Hobbs one.
Yes,
for sure.
He stopped you right in the tracks, man. He stopped you.
I got the boot up, brother. I got that boot up, and I was running fast, but that's a big boy.
Yes, he is.
That's a brick wall, my guy.
Yes, he is.
And the Spine Buster is nothing to sneeze at. He's a strong guy. What can I say?
Absolutely.
But to work with him was awesome. To be in that environment was amazing. Especially this was right after during my tenure at the academy. So, to have that opportunity at such an early stage in my career, is very, very amazing to me. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity. And hopefully one of these days, very soon, I get another opportunity to do that.
Oh, absolutely, man. And it's cool because only a handful of guys from Nightmare Factory and Rhodes Academy has been on AEW programming. And to say you're one of them.
Actually, out of that small group of people from both places, only one is a champion.
Yes.
That's
yes.
right. That's this guy.
And that's this guy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about something a lot of people might not know about Lucas Chase is your music career. We talked about it right before the show started.
Ill-fated.
Ill-fated. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm really intrigued about this. You were telling me you're a singer-songwriter. I found this out online. How long have you been doing that kind of stuff for?
So I started playing guitar and singing when I was 15, so about 16 years now. I've been a musician. And, you know, fresh out of high school, I was kind of doing both wrestling and music. I was with my old original band, Osekmik. We toured the Northeast, and we were like a heavy metal, like thrash band, very new school. And, you know, we toured the Northeast. We came out with a record, The Fifth Son, in 2010. And then, you know, we kind of rode through 2008 all the way to 2012. And then I was in and out of a couple bands, started a couple projects, nothing that, you know, kind of stuck. So I picked up my acoustic guitar and I recorded and released my own album, Never Stop Moving, in 2014. And it's all an acoustic singer-songwriter stuff. It was just like, if you listen to that record from top to bottom, you probably know me as an individual and as a person better than anybody on the planet, because it was just all really raw, organic tracks that mean a lot to me still to this day. And I'm currently working on a new project that actually, I guess this is technically breaking news because I've been so focused on wrestling. But my new project, Hounds of Justice, is slated to hit the studio in January of 2022. So watch out for that and more coming in. It's going to be very good stuff. I'm working with some really good friends of mine, and drummer Jerry Walker and guitar player Eric Cooch from Connecticut, and you know, we're putting together something really cool that I think a lot of people are going to dig. So we're going to be hitting the studio next year, and we'll see what happens.
Are we going to see you three go against Roman, Seth, and John?
Yeah, right. I know. Right? Yeah. So funny story about that. So we wanted to have something cool, and I was like, oh, like Hounds of Justice is like a really cool name. Like we've been working on this project for a few years now, and we were like, oh, like Hounds of Justice is a really cool name. And I was like, yeah, for sure. And I didn't even put two and two together until I mentioned the project to somebody, and they were like, wow, you're just all in on this wrestling thing, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, you guys named the band after the Shield. And I was like, no, we didn't. But yeah, I guess we fucking did. You know?
That's awesome.
I mean, it is a pretty rad metal name. I mean.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's cool. I love the name. Now we just got to see a 3-on-3 6-man tag match go on.
Hey, you know what? They're not a thing anymore. I think the trademark's up. So
there you go. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. We got somebody at the head of a table, somebody that's dripping, and then John Moxley. Absolutely, absolutely.
Get well soon, John Moxley.
Get well soon, John Moxley. We love you, brother. We do.
That's right.
John has always been one of my hands down favorite professional wrestlers of all time. The smoothness he can talk, the way he walked, dude, everything from top to bottom about John, absolutely incredible. Absolutely.
Hey, we might need to see John Moxley versus Lucas Chase in the future. Who knows?
Hopefully, man. Hopefully, you got to hit him with that pop-up Samoan drop, dude.
Oh, I hit him with it.
Out of nowhere.
1, 2, 3.
Out of nowhere. Last question I'm going to throw your way. How likely are you just to take out challenges from just about anybody for that RWA championship?
I'm open. I'm 100% open. I will go anywhere. I will fight anybody, and it don't matter where you're from, what you bring to the table. You have the answer on here.
Yes, that's what we're going to talk about.
So Nightmare Factory's own The Answer.
Hang on. Josh, I got your shirt, brother.
There you go. You're wearing his shirt while you're interviewing me. This is ridiculous.
I'm sorry, I don't have a Lucas Chase shirt yet. I'm getting it.
We'll have to send you one. I'll get you one. I'll get your information and where to send it after we're done here.
Oh, I'm gonna absolutely represent Lucas Chase too, for sure.
Definitely, brother. Definitely. I'm definitely open. I actually tweeted at him right before we came on here, and I said, let's go. I'm down. You know, those Nightmare Factory guys and girls always want to fight somebody. You know, they're always talking a bunch of stuff on Twitter, but you know, when we come back at them, they don't say much.
Yes,
Brooke Havoc
absolutely.
was talking a bunch of shit, you know, a few months ago, and she simmered down, and now the Answer's talking a bunch of stuff. I mean, I'll go down to Georgia in a heartbeat. Oh, don't play with me. I like Atlanta. It's a hell of a town. They got varsity hot dogs, you know. Rock and roll.
Absolutely. No, I would love to see it, man. I think Josh Breezy, I watched a couple of the matches that he's had out there. I think that dude is another guy who's going to be a main event player one of these days. Just everything about him. I became pretty good friends with him after we did our show together, and dude is absolutely one hell of a class act. So I would love to see that, man. Josh Breezy versus Lucas Chase for the RWA championship. Let's do it.
Hey, Josh, man, I'm just a phone call away, brother. I don't hide. So, you know, just rock and roll.
Let's do it, man. I would love to see that match. I think it'd absolutely be incredible. Another match we got to do is you versus Darien Bankston.
Oh, that would be good. I would dig on that. I'd dig on that for sure. I would definitely dig on that.
I just thought about it right now, and I think that'd be absolutely incredible. I think, dude, Darien is another one, man. Absolutely killing it out there.
Well, you know, after this year's up, you know, I got some big stuff slated for the rest of the year that's going to be coming up real soon. So definitely keep your eye out. And you know, this Sunday, I know we're kind of wrapping up on time here, but you know, this Sunday, third showcase, RWA. I just want to put over something that's happening at the RWA showcase this Sunday, and that is the very first ever RWA Women's Championship is going to be decided. And I just want to put a spotlight on women's wrestling for 30 seconds, just based on the fact that, you know, it's a lot harder for these women and these girls to get spotlight and to get opportunities because pro wrestling is still very much, you know, a man's world. But these girls are busting their ass, and they're doing something that has never been done before. And they're bringing back Shauna Reed from First Camp, who's been working, you know, the Midwest territory for quite some time since then and before then. And, you know, there's going to be a gauntlet match to determine who goes to the main event to face Shauna for the RWA Women's Championship. And it's going to be a barn burner, man, let me tell you. So definitely tune in for the triple threat, my first successful title defense, and definitely stick around and check out the RWA Women's Champion be crowned.
Oh, Shauna Reed, dude. Another one. Absolutely incredible. I think she's going to be such a bright future star too.
She got that gimmick, bro.
Yes, she does. Absolutely.
It's, you know, everybody from the Rhodes Wrestling Academy, man. I think Chad Lennox, Lucas Chase, Shauna Reed, and a couple people maybe from Camp 3 are going to be making some noise real soon.
Oh, absolutely. We can't wait to see it, man. I know personally, I'm going to be keeping an eye out. So, Lucas, you want to tell the fans where they can find you at on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. Instagram and Twitter, you can find me at the Lucas Chase. And you could also go to virtualmerchbooth.com/Lucas Chase and get all your Cure merchandise there. Everything from hoodies to t-shirts. We'll be releasing some hats soon, which is going to be really cool. And definitely check me out. Just YouTube Lucas Chase Wrestling on YouTube, and you can find everything you need to see right up there. Absolutely, guys. And be sure, like Lucas said, check out Rhodes Wrestling Academy Showcase 3 this weekend. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Lucas, thank you so much for being on my show, man. I really appreciate it. Hey, thank you for having me, brother. It was an honor and a pleasure all mine. Absolutely. Hopefully we can do this again, man. I can't wait. After several title defenses, we'll get this. We'll rock and roll, man. We'll rock and roll. Definitely tune in Sunday, man. It's going to be a hell of a show. I'm bringing a lot of shit to the table, and a lot of people are going to be beat up. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lucas. I really appreciate it. Guys, make sure we're in for next week, too, where I sit down with the Darien Bankston that we just mentioned. I'm really excited about that show as well. Tell him to call me, too. Absolutely, man. We're going to book some of these matches for sure. But until next time, guys, this was episode 48. This is The Cure. His name is Lucas Chase. I'm Matt Kazakowski. You guys have a great night.